You is get you. It's your boy Tom back here with another video. And in this video today, guys, we're gonna be doing a tier list of the top centers right now in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Now, here's what I would say about the center position. We've got, I don't know, mid-40s guys to rank here. It's pretty deep, honestly. When I look at the top centers, I'm like, okay, we've got a lot of, really, in my opinion, solid guys who I think can play and compete at a high level. So it'll be interesting to go through and rank each and every one of these guys and just see ultimately where we do end up with some of these guys. Like Dikembe Mutombo, first up, as we dive into him. If you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. I'm thinking A tier for Dikembe Mutombo, but I could be wrong. Like at the end of this, if he turns out and it ends up being B tier, I wouldn't totally be shocked. Here's the thing for Dikembe Mutombo though. He's 7'2". He's going to compete at a pretty high level. The problem I see with Dikembe is this. What is he really doing for you offensively on the court? Like his release, it's fine, not great. And I just think that's the tough part for me in Dikembe. I just don't know if he's that next tier good because other guys, give you that a little more offense. Dikembe's fine, just not great. Dirk, C tier maybe? Like I do not like Dirk and I'm on record of saying I do not like Dirk. So if I were to come and say today, you know what, Dirk's fine, that would just be counterintuitive. I wouldn't even be believing what I'm saying. Dirk is a garbage man in my team. And if you don't know, you soon will, guys. I mean, this card plays no defense. Offensively, he's whatever, but he's meh. But his release is on that slow side of things. And so, I mean, for anybody to sit up there and hype up this Dirk card, I just don't know if they know what they're talking about. And again, I'm not trying to slander Dirk. If you want to run Dirk and if you, let's say he's one of your favorite cards to run, do what you guys got to do. It's all personal preference. But for me, I do not like Dirk. I do like Mitchell Robinson, however, who I'm putting at B tier. If you get Mitchell Robinson and Evo the card, offensively he's fantastic. And defensively, he competes at a pretty good level, which is all I honestly want out of a center in my team, is for them to defensively be able to compete at a decent level and to be able to shoot the ball. So I'm pretty high on Mitch Robinson, especially for a budget big. One of my favorite, I should say, budget bigs in the entire game. Like, do I like him more than Dikembe? Do I think he's better than Dikembe? No. But there are not many better budget bigs than Mitchell Robinson. Pau Gasol next up, I don't know. I mean, even after the Evo boost, is he still a card like I'd ever recommend you guys running? Probably not. And I actually got Amethyst Pau Gasol on my one account, but you wouldn't know it because I don't run the card. I don't think the card is good at all. And I honestly don't think he's worth your time. If you've got Pau Gasol, whatever, he might be moved down to D tier by the end of this video. That's how non-high I am on Pau Gasol. Jonas Valanciunas up next, kind of in that same boat. Jonas Valanciunas' last Evo was just so disappointing. And I'm going to move Pau Gasol down too. I don't think either of those guys are better than Dirk. And as much as I don't like Dirk, I'm taking Dirk over Joval and Pau Gasol at the end of the day. So I'm sorry, Joval. Sorry, Pau Gasol. It's the way it's got to be. Bobby Portis Jr., I'm going to go C tier with him. I mean, you maybe could argue B tier, but when I look at Bobby Portis compared to Mitchell Robinson, I just don't think he's quite as good. And I might have put him higher on my power forward tier list as well because I think he competes better at the power forward than the center position just because I don't think it's quite as deep. But when you're looking at the top centers in the game, I do not think we can put Bobby Portis any higher than a C tier. Şengün, this Şengün up next, he's not very good. Is he useless? No, but I think he's got to be F tier. Joval is going to be better than him. Pau Gasol is going to be better than him. That Şengün is not good. Diamond Şengün, I mean, B tier probably is what he deserves. Not that I love the card, but I do like him enough to put him in B tier. I think he's better at the power forward position probably than the center position. Just again, because I don't know defensively if he's going to be able to go out there and compete against guys like Victor Wembanyama. But I do think he's good enough to deserve that B tier. Andre Drummond, I'm going to put you at F tier as well. I know defensively you're going to give me some things on the court, but if you look at the guys at D tier, they can somewhat compete defensively and knock down the open shot. Drummond doesn't even have a 3-ball. I'm sorry, F tier is where he belongs. A Disney, Anthony Davis up next. Here's where things get tough. Is he A tier? I think so. I still think AD is better than Şengün, and I know a lot of people might disagree if there is a big Şengün fan out there. And if you disagree with that, That's fine. I'm not going to argue Diamond AD compared to Diamond Şengün. For me, though, I like AD. I think he's versatile at the power forward center position. Why? I think a lot of it has to do with a really good player model that 2K did bless Anthony Davis with. Outside of that, just can't really complain about AD. Card can get the job done at a high level. Bill Laimbeer up next. Decent stretch budget, big, but I just don't think he's above F tier. Again, if you're a budget card and not an elite budget card, when we're talking about best, centers in the game, you're probably going to go in F tier. I think that's where things get difficult. Because I could go out there in Unlimited, and I could have success with Andre Drummond. I could have success with Bill Laimbeer, and they would not look like an F tier caliber card, but when it comes down to cards you guys are going to have success with, I think it's realistic to put them at F tier. Chet up next. Here's where things get tough. Because I think Chet is an S tier big man in my team. And the more I use Chet, the more I like him. The more I use some cards, the more I dislike them. But the more I use Chet, the more I'm like, this card's fantastic. Now, do I like him more at the power forward position? I do think so. But I still think he's S tier. Can shoot the ball, plays immaculate defense. There's just no flaws in Big Chet. Chris Bosh up next. Chris Bosh is another interesting card because I like Chris Bosh for his time. The time is not now, though. Still gonna go C tier. A lot of you guys might disagree with me on this, and that's okay. But I do like Chris Bosh, and I think you guys should put some respect on Chris Bosh's name because the card can compete at a pretty decent level. Darko up next, a bona fide scrub, F tier. I do not want to hear, oh, Ty, but I go out with Darko, and I'm good with Darko. Congrats, guys. What do you want? Me to hype up Darko? Because it's not going to happen, okay? I don't care if you're good with Darko or not. Darko stinks. I'm not going to sit here and hype up a bona fide scrub. That should not be on your court. David Robinson up next. S tier. And I think, again, this is where things are going to get difficult because I have my S tier of guys I really like at the center position, but then you got Wemby, and maybe Wemby will have to be his own tier. It's crazy, though. A lot of people will come in my Twitch chat when I'm streaming and say, hey, Ty, I like D-Rob more than Wemby. Is that me? No, not really, because a lot of people are like that. I've seen countless people, I should say, that do prefer D-Rob to Wemby. Me, on the other hand, I don't even think it's close. I think Wemby is so much better than D-Rob. Literally not even in the same realm of players. But a lot of people do prefer D-Rob to a guy like Victor Wembanyama. We got DeAndre Ayton up next. And I like this Amethyst Ayton quite a bit. Is B tier gassing him, though? And I think that's the question we got to ask ourselves. I don't think it is. I don't think B tier is gassing DeAndre Ayton. When you look at his stats, look at his badges, he's right up there with a guy like Mitchell Robinson for one of the best budget bigs in the entire game. And I know people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but if you want a budget pick up a guy like Ayton. Don't pick up these type of guys. It's that simple, that easy. And I don't want to hear, oh, Ty, Ayton's so hard to get. Look, if you logged in every single day last week, you got DeAndre Ayton. So I don't even want to hear that because he's not hard to get at the end of the day. Not in the player market right now, though, I do not believe, but he was an easy grind as well. DeMarcus Cousins up next, and here's where things get tough. I think B tier is where I gotta go. I think he's in between B tier and A tier, so I just want you guys to know that right now. Don't come in my comments, oh, Ty, you put DeMarcus Cousins in B tier, you're hating. I don't hate DeMarcus Cousins. I actually think he's in between B tier and A tier. I just think he's closer to being B tier. Domantas Sabonis, I know he's super tall, but what else does he give you on the court? His release isn't great, and maybe I'm being too mean to Domantas Sabonis. Maybe the card's actually not bad. I don't know, but I just don't see it with him. I don't look at Domantas Sabonis and think, man, that's a card I want to use. Even if I'm a budget guy, he's not a fun card to use. He's very mediocre, very mid. He's just not a card like I see a lot of people running either. I'm sorry. Maybe if you give him the Kevin Huerter duo, he's better for now. Go in D tier. Evan Mobley up next. I'm going to go A tier. I know his release is slow, but if you look at Evan Mobley's defense and compare it to everybody at B tier, it's a night and day difference. It's not even close, not even comparable. And that's not me just slandering people at B tier because I don't even think, B tier is that bad. That's just me being honest and realistic with you guys. I do think Evan Mobley is going to compete better than every guy I've got at B tier right now. Again, not trying to hate on anybody, not trying to, sit here and say Evan Mobley's the best, center in the game, because he's not. But defensively, what Evan Mobley's going to give you every single time out. The Greek Freak, Diamond Giannis, if you do play him at center, still A tier. Giannis is going to be Giannis, man. His player build's ridiculous. He is going to get you a lot of stops. And he's just going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo in my team. I don't know how else to phrase it, how else to put it. If you've never used Giannis, I mean, you're kind of missing out. Pink Diamond Giannis, S tier, no brainer. Now, obviously, Pink Diamond Giannis, do I like him more at the power forward position? I personally do. but a lot of that's preference based, right? I like Chet more at power forward too, but Chet can definitely play the center position. So a lot of these things, like, it is preference based. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It definitely is. But for me, Giannis, S tier, no brainer. Greg Oden up next. I like Greg Oden in my team. I do. Defensively, he's solid. Release-wise, maybe not the best, but it's good enough that you can use it and have some success with him. I don't hate Greg Oden at all. I think he's very similar to Dikembe Mutombo. Now, obviously, Mutombo's a little bit taller. I think Greg Oden's maybe defensive badges might be a little bit better. I'd have to look a little closer. But I do like Greg Oden. Even when I've used the card, I'm like, dang, this card can compete. I'm not saying he's going to be the best card that you've ever used, because he's not. But he's going to be a guy similar to Evan Mobley that you can just have out there on the court, and he's going to compete defensively. And I think that's important at the center position, especially when you're up against Wemby, D-Rob, Giannis, a lot of these top bigs in my team. Hakeem, A tier. You could argue Hakeem into S tier. And if that's you, okay, I'm not going to argue against it. But I do think Hakeem is more on the level of a Greg Oden, where he's just a guy you can run. He's not going to hurt you if you do run him. And you know what? You can have success with him. I see a lot of people running Hakeem, and everybody greens with Hakeem. I mean, every time somebody shoots with Hakeem, I say, thank goodness. Like, the release looks horrible. But everybody greens with the card. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just Hakeem being that man in my team, and I just don't realize it. But he greens literally every shot when I play against him. So, just saying. Hakeem obviously was your tough grind last season, if you did not know. Zoo up next, D tier. Zoo's not worthless, though. 7 feet tall, has some solid defense. The problem is he can't shoot. I mean, he can't shoot, not super fast. That's the problem with Zoo. But I don't hate Zoo, because he's long, he's lengthy, can get you stops. If you got him in your free Amy pack, he can play at a pretty low level. Sigma up next. I like Jack Sigma. Now let's start with this, okay? He is going to be in salary cap. If you're like, Ty, where do you get Jack Sigma? He is going to be in salary cap. Now, is he worth going for? That's up to you. He's going to be one of the best stretch bigs in the entire game, though. One thing I like about him is he does have power forward eligibility. He might be better at that center position, though. Again, that's just something we're going to have to keep an eye out for and kind of monitor the situation of. But I do like Jack Sigma, and I want it to be known in my team that Jack Sigma can play at a really, really high level, because a lot of people might not think of him of being that good. Jeff Ruland up next. I'm sorry. He's not worthless, though. He's D tier. Because Jeff Ruland can low-key shoot. He's only 6'10", though, so he's going to get mashed. But I think when we're comparing him to the cards at F tier, Ruland's better than those cards. And I'm not saying D tier is great, because it's not. But I do think that's where Jeff Ruland does belong. Joel Embiid up next. I like Joel Embiid. I do. I think he's either at the top of A tier or the low tier of S. I mean, I really, really do. I really rate Joel Embiid high. You know, as I've used Joel Embiid and Cat both, I've started really liking Joel Embiid way more than Cat, just because I can actually green with Embiid and with Cat. I thought I'd be able to figure out that release, and I really haven't. So let's just bring Cat up here right now, too. Right now, I'm going to put Cat at A tier, and I'm going to move Joel Embiid to S tier. Call me crazy. Call me what you want. I think Joel Embiid is that S tier. I do. And a lot of people are going to disagree, because a lot of people said Joel Embiid's not that good. I like Joel Embiid. I really like that card and what he provides for us on the court. Nurkic up next. Call me crazy. I'm going to go C tier. I think Nurkic, as a stretch big, does enough for me to put him at C tier. And again, I'm not trying to sit here and gas Nurkic to the moon, because I don't think he's great. But if you don't think he's C tier, I want to know why. Like, what would he have to do for you guys to put him at C tier? Because I like the card. I think the card's decent, especially for budget options. I mean, he is decently expensive, but especially if you get him like out of that equal chance pack. I think Nurkic can compete at a pretty high level. Kareem up next. At this stage, I still think he's A tier. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's high. Kareem's got like a 64 3 ball. But guess what? You can knock down shots with him. He is still 7-2 on the court. And I still think Kareem can go out there and compete. The one downside to Kareem is he doesn't have a Hall of Fame rebound chaser. That hurts his value. Kwame Brown, I'm putting him at A tier. And I know you guys are going to be like, Ty, you're just putting anybody at A tier. Tell me who doesn't deserve A tier. Kwame Brown has such a quick release. Now, his 3 ball is not high. You got to get used to the release for sure. Like, you're not just going to go out there and green shots with Kwame. But if you get used to that release of Kwame Brown, you're going to like the card. There's no questioning that, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Kwame Brown can hoop at a really high level. LaMarcus Aldridge up next, stretch big. I just don't love the card. I'm going to put him in D tier. And maybe it's because I'll be honest with you, I've never used LaMarcus Aldridge. So, I mean, if that's the reason and you like Ty, LaMarcus Aldridge is decent, use it, okay? I'm just saying, for me, give me Nurkic over LaMarcus Aldridge as it stands right now. Miles Turner up next, B tier. Miles stinking Turner in my team. I'll always gas Miles Turner. Always and forever. I mean, he's a stretch big in my team that competes defensively. Throw him right up there with DeAndre Ayton, man. Those cards can compete at such a high level. Claxton at this stage, I'm going to go C tier. I like Mitchell Robinson more than Claxton. I like Ayton. I like Miles Turner more than Claxton. I like Claxton. I just think it comes down to this. His release, in my opinion, is just too slow and too baited. And that's really what it comes down to for me. I don't hate Claxton. I actually think he competes defensively about as well as anybody on this list for budget guys. I just think it comes down to what I just said. That release, too slow, too baited, really easy to get a contest on it. And for that, it's tough for me to put Claxton any higher than a C tier. This Diamond Jokic up next, F tier. No brainer F tier. I mean, Diamond Jokic is a bona fide scrub that cannot play. If you're running Diamond Jokic, you need to reconsider some things. Patrick Ewing, Diamond Pat Ewing, I like him. A tier. I know his release is a little bit slow, a little bit baited, but he's going to go out there, compete defensively. He's going to go out there, be at least give you a stretch big option. Like, they're going to have to at least respect it on the court. And if for whatever reason you want to pair him with RJ Barrett, makes him even better. Pat Ewing, A tier. Roy Hibbert, also A tier. Roy Hibbert is 7 stinking 2. I cannot stand when people slander Roy Hibbert. Like, the card is so good for what he is. If you're decent at the game, go win those 7 triple threat online games. If you really don't have, some of the other best centers in the game, you're going to really love Roy Hibbert in my team. Next up, guys, Rudy Gobert. Now, Ru, you had your time in my team. You did. I liked you for your specific time. At this stage, though, got to throw you at C tier. And I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, but you're just an interior big that does not give me a stretch option. I'm sorry, C tier. Shaq and this Shaq. This Shaq base is probably D tier. Okay, when he gets evo'd, he's basically this Shaq. So just realize that at the end of the day, when he gets evo'd, he's probably here. You know what? I'm moving these cards up because these cards can go out there and dominate on the interior. I'm moving them up. No, I'm not. I can't. I want to, but I can't. But again, when this card gets evo'd up, he is this tier, or not evo. When he gets the duo, he is this tier. So don't run this Shaq without Kobe. Just that simple, that easy. Taco, I mean, I'm throwing you at F tier. Yeah, I would F tier too. People might want to argue me. And again, if you want to argue like that I don't know what I'm talking about, okay, fine. Whatever. I can't make you guys believe what I'm telling you guys. But here's the deal. Here's what I want to tell you guys. With Yao and Taco, they don't dominate like they did last year. In past years, look, they dominated the game. Mashing was so overpowered in past years, it was absolutely ridiculous. This year, mashing's not really overpowered. And so is Yao and Taco going to go out there and dominate? No. They might be fine on the court. I'm not saying they're going to be bad on the court for you guys because they're probably going to go out there and be fine. But they're not going to dominate at that elite level like they would have in past years when height really did run the game. Next up, guys, we got this Diamond Tim Duncan. I'm not a fan of Tim Duncan. I put him at B tier. Look, he's fine. You can run him. You can have success with him. But if you want me to sit up here in front of you guys and gas a Tim Duncan card, it's just ultimately not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen in this type of video. Victor Wembanyama, easy S tier, the top S tier. Nobody is Wemby. I'm sorry. A lot of people compare Wemby to D-Rob. D-Rob doesn't compare to Victor Wembanyama. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth behind the situation. Wemby's ridiculous. He's 7'4". He gets crazy animation. He shoots the ball like he's James Harden. I mean, what else could you possibly want out of a guy like Victor Wembanyama? I don't know. Card is fantastic. S tier. Walker Kessler up next. I mean, he's F tier too. Walker Kessler's not good. Last, certainly not least, Diamond Will, C tier. I think a lot of these inside bigs, if they're like dominant inside bigs, they've got to be at C tier. You could argue higher, you could argue lower. I can't argue against that. But I think they are all deserving of C tier in my team. That's going to wrap it up for my tier list on the center position today. I'm eager to hear your guys' thoughts on it down below in the comments. Who was I too high on? Who was I too low on? And is there anybody I left off the list that I should have included? My opinion's always subject to change. Yesterday, I'd have put Cat over Embiid. Today, Embiid obviously higher. A lot of it just comes back to I cannot time Cat's release. And until I can figure it out, he is not going to be an S tier caliber player. Love you guys. Have a blessed day.